Today I'm gonna show you what is, in my opinion, the most beautiful opening trap that's out there. And it starts off with d4, d5, and the opponent plays the Queen's Gambit. Notice this pawn is just gambited here. Now, the ideas of the Queen's Gambit is that you can most likely win it back. But here we're gonna play a counter gambit, which is called the Albin Counter Gambit. Basically saying, okay, you can take your free pawn of your own. And white takes, and this is actually the main move, it's completely fine. And we're gonna push our pawn. And this is quite annoying for white, because white would like to develop his knight, but the pawn is preventing that. His bishops are kind of stuck. I mean, he can bring his knight there, but then again, it's difficult for his pieces to get out. So one of the most played moves here, which is already a little bit inaccurate, is e3. Just saying, okay, I'm trying to get rid of this pawn. You know, if I were to take, he can just take back, or maybe even trade queens first and then take back. And yeah, this is completely fine for white. And if not, his idea is probably to take there, and then he can develop his knight, things like that. But we're not going to do anything like that. We are going to play bishop b4 check. Notice his knight can't block here. Now his knight can block here, but that's not usually played. By far the most played move here is bishop d2, just blocking the check. And saying, okay, let's just trade bishops. And yeah, we can still trade the pawn afterwards. So if this were to happen, yeah, there's nothing much happening here anymore. But here is where we set the main idea of our trap. We're just gonna take on e3. And this is a really important move for this trap. And yeah, this is also where most of your opponents will go wrong. And even high-rated players like 2800, 2900 rated players have fallen for this. Because it looks like we've just hung our bishop. And greedy as our opponent is, he's gonna take that bishop. I should note the best move here is actually to take with the e-pawn. And yeah, look at this pawn structure. So even if he plays the best move, it's good for black. The mistakes were made earlier. But yeah, he's gonna take our bishop. And our main plan is, okay, we're gonna take this pawn here. And notice that if the king were to take this pawn, we can just win their queen. And that's completely winning for us. We've lost a bishop but won a queen, so that's all right. But black says, okay, I'm just gonna bring my king up. And yeah, what are you gonna do? He's not afraid of losing his knight because he's just won a bishop, so that would just be a trade. Meanwhile, his king is still protecting his queen, so it looks like it's still all right. The main thing we want to play for is bishop c4 check, a g4 check. In this position it doesn't work, but I want to show you what the idea is. The idea is that we can now try to win that queen. Problem is, the knight can block. So going back, you would think, okay, let's just take the knight, and afterwards we can do this. But it's white's move now, and white can play an intermezzo. They can take our queen, just straight, and then take that queen, and now it's equal material and also quite an equal position. So yeah, white has everything to play for here, and we've just completely lost our advantage. So that's not something we can do. But what we can do, and this is the main reason I think this trap is so beautiful, we can take the knight and promote to a knight. Why? Because this is check, so they can't play this intermezzo taking our queen. So after they take, now we can play this check. Notice they can't block anymore, and we're just winning their queen. And yeah, at this point it's just completely winning. But just to show a very common checkmate from this position, the king moves back, we take the queen. King only has one move, going here. We go for this check. Now the king usually goes up, doesn't want to go back usually. Also, let me think. If it goes back, I know there's a checkmate here. Oh yeah, it's this. So yeah, king can't go anywhere, so they have to block. And this is checkmate. So usually the king goes here. Now we're gonna play this check. Notice we hang another bishop. Greedy as our opponent is, he's probably gonna take it. But after that, we have this check here. Now the king has two legal moves. He can go here, and this would be checkmate. Or he can go here, and this would be checkmate. And going all the way back, if he sees that and doesn't take our bishop and goes here, we can still play h5. And we're basically threatening g5 checkmate. and there's no way for him to stop it. He can delay it by one move by just hanging his bishop. We can take it with a king or a knight, doesn't really matter. This is checkmate next move, and yeah, white can't prevent it. Doesn't matter what he plays, this is checkmate. So the checkmate doesn't really matter, because after this, if you win in the queen, and even if you don't know the checkmate, you should be able to win the game. But yeah, so it's a really beautiful trap, a really nice one, and actually quite a common one. So yeah, I hope you learned something from this. Either from the black or the white side, it's good to know about this. And yeah, let me know if you trap someone with this. I'm curious to know. And thank you for watching. Bye bye.